What's up, everybody? Grant Temple here. It's the Sales Plug Podcast. I'm here to connect you to some of the best minds in the online business world so you can sell more, sell better, and serve your customers at the highest level. Today's guest, I'm super excited for. She's a leader, a disruptor, I would say, a force in the coaching industry. This is Alexis. She is the coach for the eldest daughter entrepreneurs. I saw that on her profile and I absolutely love it. She's building her business, creating movements. She's helped countless women step into their authority and build really thriving brands. So today, we're going to dive into her sales strategies and tactics that drives her business forward, and I'm excited for this. So, Alexis, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you for having me. This is so exciting.
Of course. So just diving into it, kind of give me a little bit of the, nutshell version of the backstory and how you ended up here with this business that you currently have.
Yeah, so I've kind of been a guide my whole life. I have been leading people since and I was a teenager. And I decided to step into the coaching realm probably about 3 years ago. And I was like, you know what? People should be paying me because I give so much. People should probably be paying me. And I think I started out as most coaches and most entrepreneurs do with the whole, well, I can serve everybody kind of thing. And it's like, I can be everything to everyone. And I ended up in the typical realm of, well, because I'm speaking to everyone, I'm speaking to no one. No one's hiring me. Nobody wants what I have. They see it, they kind of understand it, but they're not pressing purchase. And then about a year and some change ago, I was really just trying to figure out who it was that I resonated with, what it was that I was going through in that moment. And I was being challenged to be more clear other than just women. And I'm like, well, I can help all the women, right? But it's like, that's not specific enough. And one of the biggest keys to business is zooming in first before you can zoom back out. Really get in tight with one group first. And then if it speaks to other people, they can feel free to join in too. And I am someone who loves voice noting myself. And so I'm driving down the road and I'm like, we're having a conversation. We're doing this. I'm having a meeting with myself and we're going to figure this out. And I'm having this conversation with myself. And I was like, wait a minute, is this the oldest daughter? And so I had previously done some market research calls for a new program that I was creating. I went back to all of those women and I was like, what is your birth order? And 80% of them were the oldest daughter. And I was like, that's it. Easy. It's done. It's figured out. And the second I really honed in on that, I started really speaking to the struggles it is that we have and things like that. I posted a reel back last May and it went viral and completely blew up my following. And it was all because I was being super specific in who I was talking about. And that is how we are here right now.
That's amazing. I love that because it's such a cool angle. I think when I saw that on your profile, I was like, wow, that's just it's an interesting thing because I never thought about it this way, but like I'm a middle child. So there's the typical, like whatever the stereotypes are, the middle child, right? But you're kind of taking the eldest daughter and playing on that because I guess it's who you naturally attracted as I'm assuming you're the eldest daughter. Right. So I love that. So what exactly then do you help the eldest daughters with? Like what specific problems are you solving for them?
Right. So I do life coaching for eldest daughters who don't have businesses. And then I do coaching for eldest daughters that are entrepreneurs as well, because what they don't realize is so much of their conditioning, so much of the person that they were taught they had to be growing up, all of that plays negatively into their business. They lack boundaries. They are intense people pleasers. They keep prices low because they want people to see them. They tolerate a lot of disrespect from a lot of clients, and they are not seen as the only choice in business as the way they are seen as the only choice to help people in their family. Their family and their friends have always relied on them. People are like, oh, I have a problem. I'm going to go to this woman. But it's not the same in business, and it's not translating into power for them. It's not translating into sales for them. And it's because they lack the confidence and ownership of the caliber of work it is that they do. They're shy about it. They're bashful about it. They think that they're taking away from somebody else in order to be big, in order to be brave, in order to be a big deal. And so I am the catalyst. I am the excavator. I am the permission slip that they need to be who they want to be, regardless of what their culture says, regardless of what their parents say, regardless of what the way things have always been. I give them the permission to break the rules so that they can feel comfortable breaking rules without me later on.
Wow. I love that. And from how powerfully you speak about it, it seems like you have a lot of fun giving that for empowering people to take that permission and go do something with it. What's that experience been like for you?
Oh, it's liberating. It's so liberating. I love it when people are like, tell me what to do. And I'm like, all right, you asked, hope you're ready. And it's like the work is so deep. It's not just a strategy. It's not just send your email list this. It's why are you accepting this? Why are you going down this path? Is it because it feels safe? Because a lot of eldest daughters too, they fall into the trap of just doing business coaching, because honestly, that's the safest form of coaching. They had somebody they saw made a 50K a month from it, and they're like, oh, I can do that too. But they are so bored. They are so unhappy. They're not getting the same result. And it's because they are not in alignment. And I love pulling them from where they are, literally in a week or two, seeing where they're supposed to be and watching how quickly everything starts to happen for them, because they're like, wait, I can do whatever I want. Wait, I can actually pursue the passion and make the money. Wait, and it's like, what is it, Aladdin and Jasmine, a whole new world? And we're just up here on our magic carpet like, holy cow, there's a whole world beyond what I've given myself permission to see. And it's like they need that. But then sometimes they also don't realize what they have to give up in order to have that next thing. They can't continue on in the same habits that got them here. And sometimes that's where a lot of the deep work comes in, because they're holding on to a sense of safety that is not going to push them into the money that they really want, into the life they really want. There's so much more there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a fascinating look into it, because I think there's a part of our brain when it senses change, it can't tell whether it's good change or bad change. It's just change, right? And all these things come up. You're like, ooh, I don't know if I can let go of this. Like you do to a certain extent, have to kind of kill off the old you to become the new you. Even if it's for the better, it's still scary and it still holds us, exactly where we're at. So it's fascinating to hear you explain it that way.
Yeah, and it's literally part of my framework inside of my programs. We have inside of my membership Audacity, it's like the first part of the framework is releasing the old self. Who are you hanging on to that you don't really want to be? Because the subconscious mind is so powerful. So your subconscious mind is in charge of everything it is that you see in front of you. And you might be saying, well, I want $1 million. But your subconscious mind's like, actually, we don't feel safe with that kind of money. And that's why you don't have it. And so you have to retrain, the 98% of your brain that is doing all of the thinking for you. And that's the most important part of the work. And it's why my work is the thing that should come before you hire the sales coach, before you hire the business coach, because those people are only going to amplify what you believe about yourself and the thing you want to sell. If you don't believe that you are worthy of making the sale, you're not going to make the sale. I don't care how many different ways you try and say it. If you don't believe you're worthy enough of coaching this client, you will not be signing that client. You got to believe in yourself first. You got to hold yourself to a higher standard first. You got to puff out your own chest and pump yourself up and validate yourself first before you run and try and do anything else with other people.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. It's such an important piece that is so often overlooked, right? I think everyone, they kind of operate like, oh, I watch some YouTube videos, I know about mindset, and it's about doing the work, and it's hard, but it's a really good take from it. So how exactly, I guess, kind of going into what exactly it is that you offer, right? So looking at this through a lens of sales and serving your clients, first and foremost, you need to sell them on the idea. You need to sell them on you. You need to sell them on your offers. So taking a look, it seems like you run some master classes, you've got your membership. I think you have like maybe a 1-year mastermind. That's a pretty high ticket. I loved seeing that. So explain to me, I guess, what your offers are and how you bring, maybe just your overall sales strategy is kind of a simple way to put it, right? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, so it's funny because I'm always changing, adding, ditching, refining. Like, I have never had one sales strategy that I have honed in on and been like, oh, this is the winner. I'm going to do this every time. And I think it's because I'm someone who likes to trial and error different things. So, and I do that so that way I can teach my clients that so that they can go faster. I play in my sandbox and then I teach them how to play faster. So it's satisfying for me. For me, the biggest thing that has brought people into my world that are like, I immediately want to work with you is how obsessively unhinged I am on social media. I literally will just say whatever it is I feel like saying that day. Because again, if I am the permission slip that you need, I have to model the behavior it is that you want. I have so many people who are always in my DMs like, I love how you walk. I love how you talk. I want this for myself. And I'm like, I take all major credit cards. I can show you how to do that. I'm also really abrasive in the fact that you should be doing my work first. And it's not to tear down other people's work. It's to note that their work falls in a certain place in order for you to take advantage of them in the way that their zone of genius is, and for you to not feel like you've wasted your investment and wasted their talent. And so it's like, my work is first. My work is important. And it's constant repetitiveness of, you don't need that right now. That's what you think you need, but I'm telling you, that's not what you need. And when I'm teaching people how to say the thing, I practice saying the thing, and I will ruffle any feather that is there to be ruffled. Everybody can get a taste. I comfort anybody's neck. And that is literally part of the strategy. Is just people are like, whoa, she said that out loud. I want to learn how to do that. And I'm like, well, pay me and I'll show you how to do it.
Yeah. Right. So I guess it'd be fair to say a lot of your, maybe a big chunk of the sale is made just through your content and them getting to know you, right? Because there's different processes. There's some people where it's kind of like cold traffic, but they just got like killer closers on the phone that they can, close anybody if they just get them on a call, right? And then there's kind of the polar opposite where, people are so good at just becoming the authority that people are bought in. They don't even need to go through something like that. And that's where I like getting these different vantage points on sales strategies with different online businesses, because everyone does it different and they all work, right? So I guess all that context just to say, do you think a lot of your sale is made through your kind of front end social media content and then people are just ready to pay you when the time comes?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have to be visible. It is part of who I am. When we talk about I don't know, the woo-woo side of business, if you will, because that's literally half of my business model. It's this kind of mystical side of things. I'm someone who has to be invited to help you, but I can't be invited if you can't see me. And I can't help you the way that you want to be helped if you can't see me for who I am. So all of my emails have to be written by me. They have to come from me as the source. All of my content has to be created by me because you can feel my essence. Like today's post where it's like literally all of the things that I don't ever do, which is why I'm highly desirable. And the comments are just like, you can feel the power in this. And I'm like, because it's me, because I sell high level access to me. And what you're getting is me. So you have to be able to feel my essence, feel the vibe. Like we got to pass the vibe check. All of that has to come through. It's so funny because I have a lot of people, obviously every business owner gets this. So somebody in your DMs like, hey, I can get you like 50 appointments, next week. And I'm like, that sounds like the absolutely worst idea ever. I don't want to talk to 50 people ever in 1 week in a separate call. It's like, I'd rather talk my shit, post my content and have 2 or 3 people come into my programs aligned every week or every other week that did not waste my time, that slid in exactly when they knew they were ready, paid their money, and knew what they were going to get, as opposed to, let me go talk to 50 people and see if maybe one of them wants what I have.
Right. Right. That makes sense. So what would you say is the introductory level? Is that your membership? And I guess, is there a direct maybe result that you want to get them there that makes them prepared for maybe is it your mastermind? Is that what you call the longer program? So what is, I know it seems like you're maybe not operating from a like hard in stone strategy, right? But I'm sure there's some intentionality behind, what you do, right? So explain that a little bit to me here.
Yeah. So there's and I've had enough coaches to be like, listen, you got to take people through a pipe system, right? One's got to go into the other, because I can help people for as long as they need me to, right? Because I'm literally still helping people I helped 10 years ago. I'm like, we're still doing this? Okay. I mean, all right, whatever much time you need. And so, yeah, Audacity is like, I don't say, I used to call them like my baby business owners, but these are women who just need the confidence to say yes to themselves. This is, I need permission to do the scary thing. I need permission to say the thing out loud, to say the thing everybody's thinking, right? I need to know enough about myself to know that I'm in alignment with what it is that I'm doing. And so that's where they kind of fall. Then I have a program that's kind of in between the mastermind, and it's really just my one-on-one. And my one-on-one also mixes with my newest program, which is Roast My Program. And what I do is a lot of coaches, right? They'll tell you, okay, well, here's how you should set up your framework. Once you do this step and this step, it'll be great for people. A lot of coaches do that, but most coaches will not come into your program and tell you what you're fucking up inside of your program, because you can have great sales, you can have great marketing, but if people are not following all the way through with your program, if people are losing attention 20% of the way through, you have a problem with retention. Most people don't want to re-sign with you. We need to figure out what's going on in here, because we all know from a sales standpoint, it is easier to get people to re-sign with us than it is to bring new people in. So why is your retention such shit? That is the Roast My Program thing that I have in here. And these are for women who it's like, I can make sales, but I'm still working really hard. I constantly have to get new sales. Nobody wants to stay with me long term. And that's kind of like my middle line business owner. And then you've got my mastermind ladies who are ready to just stop being so high touch with clients. They're ready to write the book. They're ready to be on the stages. They're ready to be Oprah level. They're ready to have their work so widely known. And they know that they have to be a completely different person to be that than they are right now. They have to be vulnerable. They have to be willing. They have to be open to being seen. And they haven't practiced that yet. And so that is the work that we do there as well.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I love it. And what, I guess, going down to just what it actually kind of looks like. So click the link in your bio. I assume the membership is something that people can find their way to and just join, right? And maybe I'm just even thinking about this, wrong or in a way, right? But something like a mastermind, I think you're like 12 months is like 18K. Am I right about that?
That is.
I mean, do people just go right to the website, type in their card information, or where does that communication happen to facilitate that transaction?
Yeah, honestly, most of the time it's either my DMs or they are women who have gone through Audacity and I have deemed that they are ready to take the next step into a higher program. And so they already have that familiarity with me. But I used to do sales calls and I don't do those anymore. And if I do them, they cost money, because I have had, and this is from my own experience, right? Because I experience everything. When I speak, people listen. When I speak, people move. When I speak, people get what they need and they think that they don't need any more. But what was happening is I'm hopping on a 30-minute, discovery or sales call with you. I'm talking to you. I don't even feel like I'm giving you anything big. And you're like, wow, she's changed my life. And then they leave. And then they're like, I don't need anything else. And now what? I'm sitting over here empty handed. I just gave you my energy and you're acting like, you know, no. It's too much. I do not have the energetic capacity like most people. When we talk about like human design, you might have heard me talk about it. It's like, I'm a projector, so I'm only 20% of the population. I don't have access to life force energy. I get my energy from other people. When those other people leave, I am dead. And it's like, I can't do much. So the people who pay me should be getting every ounce of my energy because it's mutually, beneficial. So I had to stop doing sales calls and discovery calls because they were depleting my energy. People were getting what they needed from a 5-minute call with me. And then I was looking around like, hold up, I'm tired and I ain't got no money. So I stopped doing those. And if people really want to talk with me or have a conversation with me before they dive in, you can come to a masterclass or you can pay me for the sales call. Either way.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And I've always been a big proponent. Just I've worked in businesses taking sales calls, right? And I see the value behind it, but I can also 100% understand the drain that can come from it. So I love seeing how other people go about it and what works best for them and their business, right? It seems like you're very dialed in on what works best for you, your business, and I'm sure that even drags outside of your business as well, right? Because if you're tired and depleted inside your business, I know you still got a normal life, you've got a family, you've got all these other things that deserve energy as well. So you kind of find in that soft spot is I want to say soft spot, that sweet spot, I should say, that works for you to sell is amazing. Tell me a little bit about the master classes. I poked around on that as well. So is that you teach a specific thing, present your offer at the end? It could even be a soft pitch, but what does that master class look like?
Yeah. So the way that I like to do these two is I actually combine them with trainings I'm already doing with my paid clients. So inside of Audacity, you get a quarterly call with me. So, and it's not one-on-one, they're quarterly, group calls or whatever. And I'm already hosting them. And so what I'm doing is I'm opening them up to the public to come and get a hint of what it is to work with me and to be in the energetic space of my clients who are already in there. And then that way, if nobody wants to come from the outside, they ain't got to. I'm already doing it for my clients. They don't have to be there if they don't want to. This is a sales strategy in a way that I don't have to pitch very hard at the end because the majority of the people in the class are already my clients. So they will come and they'll be like, you need to hire Alexis. And they are in this space where they can feel the vibe. They can feel the energy. They have a feeling of how it is that I teach, how I'm coaching my clients specifically in here, because they are master classes, but I do call on people. I usually call on my clients. I make an example of them. We work through something together in that moment and they get a taste of it. They get a feel for it. If they walk away and they don't want to work with me, I got paid. And I also didn't waste my time because I was already hosting this anyway. And my pitch at the end is usually about 4 or 5 minutes. And it's literally just like, this power that you feel right now, it's real. It is in you. You're feeling it. But what's going to happen is your body is automatically going to start to be like, oh, I don't know if this is safe. I don't want to do this. And it's like, you're going to want to retreat, but you want to hold on to this power. How do you hold on to this power? You get long-term support from me. Because when you have that long-term support from me, you harness this power every single day until it becomes second nature and you don't need me anymore. And then all of my clients are like, oh, she's amazing. You have to get in here. Boom, done. Easy.
Yeah. I love it. It's such a good idea, actually. And maybe just I haven't noticed it, but I haven't seen too many people doing that exact thing where it's, hey, I'm already doing these group calls. You're welcome to join. I think I was like $37. It's pretty low commitment for someone to come and get some good value from it. And yeah, I mean, when you have a good vibe going on, I always give people an example. There's a couple, things that I've done, just communities I've been in where there is just a really good vibe. And the best analogy that I always like to explain to people is like, when you walk into a party, like you open the door, you're like, this thing is bumping. This is about to be a good time,
Yeah.
Or you walk in and you're like, wow, I'm going to be here for 10 minutes before I'm out of here, you know?
Yeah.
And if you can have that environment, it's definitely, you know, in a kind of a sales situation, right? If people are, the vibe is good, people are hyped up, you're providing real value, your already clients are talking you up. You know, that's a great situation for someone to go, you know what, I'm ready to take the next step.
Yeah. Yeah. And you kind of get a taste of not just how I move, but how the other women in the program are moving as well, because these are going to be, you know, your colleagues. These are going to be the people that you are in these messages with, that you're going to be bumping ideas up against. It's not just me. And even though I don't feel pressure to create a community environment, it's not who I am. People literally come for me. I also enjoy having other women who talk to each other. So sometimes I don't always have to be that person. They don't always come for me to say the thing. There are people that will give them something else. And it's like, come and commune with people that you potentially want to be involved with for the next 6 to 12 to 18 months. Because you can be in Audacity for years at a time if you want to. I mean, at some point I'm going to be like, girl, get your shit together or go home. But it's just a good, and again, like you said, $37. You're going to spend more money like that on some sugary Starbucks this week than to actually go ahead and change your life. And I fool with people who put their money where their mouth is. They are serious about the work it is that they're here to do. They know that I am the person, and they're just coming in here to make sure that the vibe is good.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That's super powerful. I love it. I love it. I guess anything else before maybe diving into more tactical things, like kind of high level, you know, strategy that you feel is relevant that could be touched on that maybe we haven't yet?
Oh, tactical strategy. It's so funny because again, it's all over the place for me. I play with it and then I get bored with it and I'm like, I don't want to do that anymore. Um, I would say that the biggest strategy is making sure that you are all over the place where people can find you, but that you hold the same vibration and you hold the same manner and way of being across all of those platforms. Because I am on LinkedIn and I am just as bad over there. LinkedIn is such a snooze fest and I bring the party. I'd be like, y'all really out here arguing about whether the second T in TikTok is capital. Nobody cares. Let's talk about what's actually important. And it's like, your visibility is the most important thing, but your visibility as your true self is like the tactical aspect of it. Before you hit post, you need to ask yourself, is this reflective of who I really am? Am I actually saying the thing that I want to be said here? Where am I pulling back that I need to be more unhinged?
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love it. And well, I think that's a good transition, just kind of going into the more granular, like what can someone just understanding your sales strategy, right? You've given a lot of value there and it makes a lot of sense. But more, all right, now what can someone actually go do today, right? And maybe almost like you would coach your clients a little bit, I guess the business ones, not just the life coaching ones, but more specifically, because we're talking through the lens of sales. So you talk about kind of being the one in your industry, right? So I think that's a super, you know, cool idea. And it goes into what we've been talking about, just speaking your mind, being a little unhinged, but kind of starting with what can someone do today to start finding that whatever it is that they're missing that they don't have, I guess, right? Or maybe they don't have it, but they need to pull it out of themselves, right? I think that's most of the time what it is. What can they do today to start doing that and make more sales?
Yeah. So one of the questions I ask my clients a lot is, if you were 100% safe speaking your mind, what would you be saying? What would you be saying? And this is the first thing that I tell you to do. And it's so funny because I feel like people download my freebies expecting to get super strategic with me. And the very first day in my freebie is, who are you when you're not working? Because if you don't know who that is, what is we even doing? She matters. This person matters, right? And so if you felt 100% safe speaking your mind, what would you be saying? Okay, great. Cool. Now, how can we go say that? First of all, find the platforms that you feel the most safe saying them on. That's okay. Create that safety for yourself. So if it's Instagram, if it's Threads is like AOL, like millennials are having such a good time on Threads. Threads is like
Yep.
a literal permission slip to just say whatever you want to say and be totally feral. Every time I'm feral on that platform, I get a ton of new followers and a ton of new people into my offers. So be feral. But find that safety. Pick the platforms where you feel safe. For a lot of my clients, I got a lot of clients that are like hermits. They like to come out, show the world their genius, and then go hide for another 2 weeks. And then I got to pull them back out. And I'm like, the world needs to see you. Okay, Legs. They go back. But they use platforms like Substack. They use platforms where they can put their words in writing. They focus on email. So figure out where you feel the safest being yourself. Then say the thing that you really want to say. And it doesn't matter if you're shaking, right? It's like when you are dating somebody and you send that risky text and you toss your phone, send the risky thread, toss your phone, but you put yourself out there. And the more that you do that, the more it becomes second nature. So that's the advice. Figure out what you need to feel safe, saying the thing that you truly, truly feel. Find the platform that feels the safest for you to say that right now in its truest form, not in a watered down version of it. And then just say, fuck it and go do it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's powerful. And I think it goes into kind of being polarizing, I think is a good way to do it, or a good way to kind of describe that. And I think a lot of, online business owners specifically, they struggle with being polarizing in their content because they don't want to push people away. But I mean, not that these are, great examples of kind of people, so to speak, but just for the sake of, being polarizing, like, Andrew Tate. I mean, that guy says whatever he wants. Not that I agree with everything, but you're like, man, you either agree with him or you don't. It's like he's polarizing, and that's what gets so much attention. So I guess kind of talk about feeling okay being polarizing with your opinions. And I like what you said of doing it. People will try to put out a polarizing opinion, but they do water it down and it doesn't hit the same. And you're like, I don't believe your little polarizing opinion because I can tell you held back. So I guess, how do you formulate that messaging and feel okay with being polarizing in content?
Yeah. Well, first of all, you've got to let go of things like this might be an unpopular opinion, but let's just say the thing. Okay. Because when you qualify your unpopular opinion, that is grounds for people to absolutely stomp all over you. I posted a thread this morning and I was like, I'm just going to say the thing. I'm not going to qualify my opinion. So that's the first thing. The second thing I like to remind people of is you might not agree with Andrew Tate. You might not agree with Kanye West. You might not agree with Elon Musk. I find most of them to be extremely bonkers. I don't understand them. However, they have found their people. They say the thing. They are still making money. You think any of these people are looking at you on the internet trying to argue with you? No, they got their cash. Okay. They do not care. And if you want to add more humanity into your work, if you don't like what it is that they are saying, it doesn't mean that you have to go completely off the rails and start doing some anti-human bonkers shit. Like, you don't have to do that, but you do have to be yourself. You do have to say the thing that you're trying to say with your whole chest. You do have to bring awareness at the same level of audacity and the same level of conviction that they are bringing the thing that they are. That is how you bring more love and more, peace and more humanity back into the world. But if you don't get comfortable with being seen, if you don't get comfortable with being exposed, you're going to continue to hide And let's be honest, half of your little unpopular opinions aren't even that unpopular. A lot of people are thinking that, they're just not saying it, but you qualifying it makes you seem like you don't actually fully stand behind it. And one of the ways that you can start to stand behind your opinions online is to just say them without being like hot take, unpopular opinion. Leave that shit out. You're using up characters in your thread. Like, just say it. Just say it. And so many people look at me like, how do you do it? I'll stand here and I'll be like, oof, I don't know how this one's going to go, but I'm going to say it anyway. And I'm going to throw it because think about it. You are getting clients right now, right? Or maybe you're not. What do you have to lose by saying things that align with people who actually want to hear from you? If I'm not getting clients right now with my boring, vanilla, run-of-the-mill, looks like everybody else's content, do I have anything to lose by being polarizing? No, nobody's hiring me anyway. If I'm polarizing and then I start to lose interest from people who didn't agree with me, I didn't want to work with them anyway, because I don't care what anybody has to say. If I don't agree with you, I'm not going to talk to you about this. I have reached the point in my life where I'm like, nobody is going to get in my vibrational space if I don't allow them to. If I don't agree with you about, politics or this, that, and the third, I'm not going to sit here and have a conversation with you about it, because we're not talking to each other to listen or to be heard. We're trying to change each other's minds. That's not how this is going to go. I don't want people in my world that don't agree with me on about 95% of the things, because that means then they're not fully in tune to my coaching. They're not fully in tune to the way that I want to guide them. They're wasting their time and they're wasting my energy. It's not even about the money. I'm not going to give my energy into you for you just to go and take it somewhere else. So me being polarizing is a way to remove people from my awareness that don't agree with me and aren't going to listen to me and are just going to waste my time. It's an entire strategy of who's actually going to come into my world that I feel good about helping.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And again, I think it's important to note that doing all that right out on, kind of social media, it's because it does attract the right people, that you're doing a lot of the heavy lifting in sales right there. You know what I mean? It's not in some funnel. It's not, and look, those work too. You know what I mean? Like, everything works, but doing it that way, I mean, people are bought into you, therefore they'll kind of just buy whatever you have when you put the offer in front of them, right? So how do you then tie kind of the polarizing content, but still move people towards actually, like, all right, I'm going to click her link and go buy what she has. Like, where do you, in your polarizing content, put your offers, or, make sure they're clear on how to get the help that you provide?
Yeah. So something I have found that works really well for me, especially for my past 2 weekends of just, whatever, being a stray cat on the internet streets, has been like, I'll have a post just go completely out there. I think last weekend I got something like 300 new followers from a post I made. And then the weekend before that, I got 2,500 new followers because people were really invested in my small claims court drama. They were so invested. They just came for the tea. But what I did after that post was probably 24 hours later, I was like, welcome to all of these new people that following me. I love how you came for the tea. You're a real one. Thanks for being here. When I am not breaking the internet with whatever it is you came here for, this is what I actually do. These are the ways that you can work with me. And here's, a free offer that I have that you can grab right now. And just from the past 2 weekends, I've had about 30 people grab some of those offers. And so it's like, it has to be a mixture of saying the thing and then on the other hand, being like, this is actually how you can work with me. The people who come to you because you say the thing are not going to be the same people that hire you to be the person that says it. Some people really just are here to be entertained. And I'm cool with that because I'm never going to stop showing out. Right. But it's like, you have to sell something every day, even if it just means taking your IG post for that day and putting it into a thread so that people can see, because everybody knows that when you start selling, things get quieter, right? You're not going to get as much engagement on sales posts and blah, blah, blah. But that doesn't mean that people aren't listening and they're not watching. I've had people say, you know, this post really resonated with me. And I was like, damn, nobody even liked that post. But okay, cool. I guess she was paying attention. It's like people really start to lurk when you sell them something, and then they immediately start to move. And you have to tell people how they can work with you. Because if you don't, one thing I've learned about entrepreneurship is that people don't read and people don't listen and people don't do the thing. You have to say it so many times that you have to be sick of hearing yourself say it. And it's like, most people do not see all of your content, especially over on IG. IG be tripping. And it's like, why do I have 24,000 followers, but only 6 people like this post? Be so for real, Instagram. But it's like, you have to repeat it and you have to repeat it and you have to say it. And you just have to put it out there. And so put something polarizing, and then the people that follow you, immediately give them something to funnel into. So that way you can sneakily have their email address and you can email them 3 times a week. And you can be like, girl, you know, you want to be in here.
Yeah. It's such an important piece, because there's, you know, when you have, like, if you really have something that goes viral for being polarizing specifically, right? Like, I think there's some, like, maybe not as much these days, but like how-to content could used to go viral pretty well, but like you then be kind of getting people that wanted to know how to do that, right? But with something, it sounds like your, you know, small claims court, more than likely 90% of the people who looked at that weren't like your ideal customer, so to speak, right? But the ones that were there, and they click on your profile and they start scrolling, and what did she post, you know, elsewhere? And if you have those call to actions in there, where again, you're really just, you talk to them like they're for, like, hey, if you want more of XYZ, you need to click this button and then do this. You know, it's important to have those things living on your profile and being clear about it. So, you know, when you do have something like that go off, the people who want what you have know where to find it.
Yeah, because that's the main reason why people want to be in your world, is because you have something that they want. And for me, I have the audacity. I have the willingness to be myself. I have the willingness to put all of my business out there on the internet, because it's vital that people see me so that they can feel safe moving themselves. They want to feel that. I need to show them how they can create that. And this isn't a charity. I need to make money off of you looking at me, right? Because when I have money, when I feel safe and protected by money, I'm even more feral. I'm even more out there, because I'm like, the world's a playground. I don't have any problems. I love my house. I love my pool.
Yep.
Nobody's taking anything from me. And it's like, when I feel safe, I give the best of me out there. You get the best of that. You pay into that. I feel safe. And it's just this beautiful circle. If you're just constantly giving to people, nobody's ever going to pay you. You have to tell them how to pay you.
Right. I love that. I love that thought process too, of, you know, you feeling safe and secure because you're getting paid, which then gives you the permission as well to, you just say what you want, right? And it does feed itself. And I think particularly in the beginning, I think this is a struggle for people, is really putting themselves out there on the internet, but especially like opening their soul about how they really feel about things. So they're wondering, if I have to go back to that job, is someone going to come across this, right? Because they're not making money, so they don't feel secure. And it's like, if I post this shit on LinkedIn and, you know what I mean, and if this doesn't work, I have to go back to my job. Now I've said all this sort of stuff. So it's important, like, if you're going to be, you know, polarizing in that way, particularly in business, right? Make offers so you can feel secure. Do you feel that that's a part of it sometimes? Like, people are holding back because of ramifications of what they say later on?
1000%. Because let's be honest, right? For every action, there's an equal opposite reaction. You say something, there's going to be a consequence. But everybody sees consequences as bad word, not necessarily as what good can come out of it. And so, yeah, you say something, somebody gonna punch back. I say something on the internet, somebody tried to like take a screenshot and quote me, like trying to bully me. And I'm like, do I look like I care? Are you trying to get me to feel bad? Because I said what I said. And I wouldn't have put it on the internet if I wasn't passionate about what I said. You're not gonna make me feel bad, baby. You're the wrong one. And then after that, they get blocked because I'm like, you're not gonna take my energy. But the question you have to ask yourself too is, again, why am I so beholden to institutions, to cultural dynamics, to people that don't want to see me thrive? Well, I don't want to say the thing just in case this doesn't work out and I have to go back to work. Okay, why do you want to go back to work for somebody who wouldn't agree with everything that you just said? Because now you're going to hate having that job just as much as you hated being silenced on the internet. Oh, well, I'm worried what mom and pop will say. Mom and pop don't even know how to use Instagram. Stop worrying about it. Like, why are you so afraid that your truth will make them uncomfortable? That is a them problem. That is not a you problem. Your truth is what needs to be said. Your story is what needs to be told. All of these things are, different sides to the same coin. Why am I so worried what people will think? Why do I care so much what people have to say? You want to master sales? Sales is just an energy. If you cannot fully back yourself, you will not make the sale. And if you are coming with this little half-ass, I'm not entirely sure I want to say this, nobody is going to believe that you are the person for the job. I don't care how many different people you have making calls for you, sending DMs for you. If you do not fully believe in yourself and the product it is that you're selling, and you do not fully say everything it is that you're saying with full passion and full meaning, nobody's going to buy it. So don't worry about it.
Yeah. 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 That's it's such a good point. And I think there is a level of, if you can I say, if there's a mentor I have, and I don't always agree. It's not the right way to put it. It's not like everything he says is just fact all the time, but whatever he says, he believes what he's saying. Like, there is no question. Like, when the words leave his mouth, you're like, I don't even know if that's true or if I believe it or not, but he believes it. Like, you can just feel it. And he's great at influencing people and making sales in that. So I do think that embodiment of it, that truly is at the core of sales. And that's true of sales reps as well. I mean, I've worked with on a team of 180. I've been a sales rep, and the number one thing you have to have first and foremost is like confidence and conviction in what you're selling. If you don't, the framework doesn't matter, the script, the objection handling, literally none of that matters. Block number one is conviction and belief in what you're selling, even if it's not yours, but even more so if it is yours and you're selling it. How do you, because I'm sure this is probably a lot of work that you do with your clients, right? Is instilling that in them. How can they mine that out of themselves?
So we do a lot of subconscious reprogramming in my work. So it's a lot of, I don't know how to do that. So we tap into the subconscious mind and let the subconscious mind do it for us. And it's a lot of figuring out where you got the idea that sales is, cringy, or that sales is, not something that you're good at. We got to figure out the first time that you believed that. We got to dig into that, because if I don't understand why you think that this is happening, I can't help you change your belief around it. I can't help you figure out why you need to sell this thing. And it comes down to the passion as well, right? I have a client who, she's been doing business coaching. I've known her about 18 months, but she just started working with me probably about 6 months ago. I've known the entire time I've known her, I know business coaching was not what she was supposed to be doing, but I needed to let her figure that out for herself. But she struggles to fill her programs. She struggles to fill this program. She's like, I'm good at it. I'm like, that's not the point. Cool. You're good at it. That's great. But that's not really what you want to do. And she's like, you're right. I want to go back to, my nonprofit space that I was creating, that it's like creating cobwebs. And I'm like, girl, you already have 30 people in a WhatsApp group that are paying you weekly to do this. And you worried about the business coaching over here that doesn't feel good because the energy is not there. Your passion is not there. And then they're like, wait, you're so right. And I'm like, I know, because that's what you hire me to be, right? You hire me to be right. But the energy has to match. The passion has to be there. And I help you unlock that within yourself and kind of just like wake you up and be like, hello, all of this over here that you really want is right here waiting. The doors are about to fling wide open if you would just go over there and see it. And that's when people really start to feel differently about how they sell, because they're not in a convincing energy. When you're not passionate about the work it is that you do, there's a convincing energy to it. Whereas when you move with conviction, when you know that your work changes lives, and when you are passionate, you just cannot help yourself. You're constantly talking about the way that this person shifted, the way that person shifted, the way that your work changed someone. You don't have to convince anyone of anything. The energy is written all over your body. It's in every piece of content that you put out. It is all over everything it is that you do. And that is contagious, and people want that for themselves, and it naturally invites them in.
If I had a hat, I'd throw it, or slam something against the wall, or yeah. I mean, I do think that people have this honestly fucked up relationship with selling. Like, that's what it really comes down to. And it's like, I see people all the time, post things like, oh, I don't want to feel salesy. It's like, even salesy is a word. And it's like, if you feel salesy, it's because you're lacking what you just described, right? Like, when you just believe, you're not really selling. You're just you're projecting that energy, it's confidence. There's not like a convincing factor to it. And you can operate from that place. It just puts you in such an advantage. And I think one thing too, it makes you a leader, and people buy from people who they know can lead them to a solution, right? When you're operating from that place, it's an energy of leadership that makes people buy. What are your thoughts on that? And how would you encourage your clients to make that transition from, I feel uncomfortable with sales, we've uncovered the issue, but now I need to step into this leadership portion of it so people buy eventually?
Yeah. So there's a few things that I learned from my time in the military, as brief as the 6 years was, as long as it felt, was that there was two things. One, you were talking about that gentleman earlier, your mentor, who is like, I don't always believe what he's saying, but he believes what he's saying. And one thing that we learned was that it was okay if we were all wrong, as long as we were wrong together. If we all said the wrong answer out loud, but we said it as a group, that was more important than actually having the right answer. So that's the first thing, is kind of finding your people that like mesh with that. But the second thing was, you cannot lead people if you haven't already done or are not willing to do what you are asking them to do. And you are not selling with conviction because you're selling some shit that you wouldn't even buy. You are selling something that you don't even have the balls to do yourself. I do not ask any single woman in my group to move in a way that I have not already moved, or in a way that I would not move myself. And it doesn't even matter about the fact that 40% of my clients are getting divorces and I'm not, because I have been in relationships where people did not respect me. They abused me. They were horrible to me. And I chose myself and I moved it along. Just because it doesn't happen to be my spouse doesn't mean that I didn't already show that kind of leadership. Because what do I look like telling you to divorce somebody who doesn't respect you, and then I'm still in a horrible relationship with somebody else? I don't talk to my mom or to my brother because they are narcissistic, and they were so abusive of my time and of my energy. And so they got kicked to the curb. What do I look like telling you to do that if that is not something I'm willing to do myself or haven't already done myself? You think sales is cringy because you're not actually backing yourself. You're not showing people this is the way that I do things. And it's not from a place of here's my proven framework, because sometimes that shit really bothers me because I'm like, oh no, it worked for you, but it's not going to work for 95% of the people who hire you. It's not this feeling of, well, I just have to get it out there. I know in my bones that this is so good. I had a client today. She was like, I'm going to start the beta for this. And I replied to her and I was like, you're not doing a beta shit. Put the full price on this. She's like, but it's not done. And I sent her like that emoji that's like, I'm like, I don't give a fuck about whether it's done or not. This is powerful. It's going to pour into people so much. Just because it's easy for you doesn't mean it's not going to be life-changing for somebody else. Just because your program is new doesn't mean your expertise is new. Your expertise is already there. Stand fully behind what it is you're doing. If you want to be a leader, don't try to sell something that you would not use, you have not used, or will never be willing to use. People see right through that. And then that's why most of the time when people are like, oh, I can get you this or I can get you that, like, we can help you get 10K followers, bye, blocked, don't be, no. This isn't how you sell, baby. It's not how you sell.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that goes into a little bit. I mean, all of that, it's such gold. And I really hope anyone who watches this, like, can really take that and understand that this is the kind of on the deep work. This is what you do, right? So it's the deep work that makes all of this possible. And I think it goes into a little bit of imposter syndrome is kind of just like adjacent to what we're just talking about. And a lot of times when people are like, kind of say I have imposter syndrome, it's like, you're being a fucking imposter. That's why you have it, right? It's like you are doing something that you're not convinced. Like you are an imposter, you know, it's not a syndrome right now. You're just actually an imposter. And it's not in like a negative, you need to feel terrible sort of way, but it is in that you feel this way because you are not convicted. You wouldn't buy it. You know what? Like all the things that you were just saying. And again, another person I like him, but I don't agree with everything he says, but Alex Hormozy said something to the effect of like, you know, there should be so much just like undeniable proof because you've done what you're talking about so much that you won't feel like an imposter because there's a stack of proof this high that you are who you say you are. And you can only do that by doing the things. And you know what I mean? You know what I'm getting at there?
Yeah. It's like, it doesn't, and there's two sides. I think there's two sides to kind of like the imposter syndrome. So for me, right, I do a lot of the strategy, the conscious, the tactical, the pep talk, if you will, the permission slip work with my clients. But all of the energy work it is that we do, I have other women in my program facilitate because one, I don't want to be like, I don't want to do it straight up. It's too much work. If I had to lead the somatic breath work, if I had to lead the meditation, if I had to lead all the tapping calls, there wouldn't be space for anything else. I don't have the energy for it. So I bring other women in who have these beautiful gifts. They facilitate inside of my program. Obviously, I pay them. And it's this beautiful ecosystem of I'm the main coach who does 80% of the work. There's 4 other coaches that do the 20% of the work. Everybody loves it. If I was trying to do the energy work, I would feel like an imposter because I feel like, am I leading this person as deeply as somebody else would lead them? Probably not. So I'm going to get somebody else to do it. So one, that my clients are getting what it is that they truly deserve. And so two, so I'm not running around here feeling like shit about myself because if I'm not fully sold on what it is that I'm doing, I'm not going to sell it. And so that's kind of like the one thing is like, how can you fill in the way that you're feeling like an imposter? How can you fill that in with somebody else who has that gift so that you can feel more confident about what it is that you're selling? Because you don't really have to sell yourself. Women come into my programs knowing that it's not just me. They know that it's mostly me, but they know that it's not just me and they're okay with that. The other side too of it is, so as women, as eldest daughters, as the people that I coach, we have this feeling of imposter syndrome because we have done so much for so many other people. It has been our job to be smaller so that other people can be bigger. So when we step into that place, it doesn't feel like the spotlight should be ours because we were taught that it wasn't supposed to be. We were taught that we were supposed to be the bedrock, that we were supposed to be the foundation so that other people could be great. And we feel this sense of like, do I really belong here? Because we were taught that we didn't belong there. And either way, the work is still the same. What do I need to do to feel safe being seen by all of these people? My daughter had her first dance competition on Saturday, and they called up parents to do a parent improv dance. And I was like, why are they doing this? But I was like, of course I'm going to go up there. And I won the parent dance competition. But it was like, why am I here? why am I doing this? And I'm like, well, one, because my daughter needs to see that I would never just throw her into something without putting myself there too. She needs to feel safe doing that. And it's like, when I got off the stage, people were like, you really inspired a lot of moms today to put themselves out there. And I'm like, that's it, baby. That's it. That's all it takes, is to just be that person, exist as that person. Even if you don't feel like them, if you move like them, you will become them. And just give yourself that permission to do that one thing, that one time, and all of it, you won't feel like an imposter anymore. You're here because you know that this is like inherently deeply, this is what you're supposed to be doing. And it's scary. It is. I feel it every day, but it becomes less scary the more you do it. The feeling of, am I qualified enough to do this? It fades the more that you do it, the more that you own it. The whole fake it till you make it thing, whatever you need, babe, just do it until it doesn't feel so hard or so big anymore. Because I promise you, life on this side of being feral, life on this side of saying what needs to be said, it feels good over here. It welcomes so much abundance. Everybody can have it. Everybody deserves it.
Yeah. Man, this has been powerful. Kind of bringing this in for a landing, then kind of in the accumulation of everything that we've talked about in a nutshell. What's your advice for someone, again, kind of through the lens of sales, of here's what you can go do right now to step into your power to get better at sales today?
Oh, figure out who you are. Figure out who you are and what you want. Make it less about what you're trying to sell today and make it more about who you are and who you want to be. Figure that out, because when you know that, sales is easy. When you know that, you don't have to sell anything to anyone. People will just come to you. People will just be like, wow, this person is so naturally good at this. And you're like, you're going to pay me to do that? And they're like, yeah. And then that's it. It just flows. People like to talk about attraction marketing a lot. That is attraction marketing at its core. Go figure out who you are outside of what it is you're trying to sell. Go figure out who it is that you want to be outside of what it is you're trying to get people to buy. Because when you feel that, when you know that, you speak differently, you act differently, you move differently, people treat you differently. And that is how you embody the energy that sells for you 6, 7, 8 figures effortlessly.
I don't think I got anything to add to that. That was said perfectly. But if someone does need some permission, some empowerment, some deep work, where can they find you? Let's go social, your website, wherever you want people to come into your world. Where can they find you?
Yeah, so right now I'm on Instagram at A Frank Life Coach. I'll probably change in the next few months. We're going to a personal brand over here, so it's about to get weird. And on Threads too. If you're like, I gotta watch everything that she says, that is where you go to find me too. LinkedIn, I am also on there just as Alexis Frank. Be mindful, you're not going to get a different version of me over there either. Just be wary. But if you're trying to spice up your LinkedIn news feed, you can definitely follow me over there. And every resource that I have, my free offers, the 3 programs that I have to work with me, my own podcast, and all of the links from my podcast, That, are all on my website at thefccoach.com.
Okay, amazing. Well, look, I would encourage anyone who's been listening to go check her out. I follow her on Threads. It's a hoot. I love it. She really does speak her mind. It's refreshing. That's why I asked her to be on here. I knew she could provide a lot of value. So yeah, take what you learned today and really go apply it. I mean, as much as we love to be entertaining, we want you to actually take this and go do something with it, so you learn something and a change happens. So thank you for being here. I appreciate it. And we'll catch up soon.
Thank you so much.